Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage. So I told you in the last upload I was hoping to be pretty well done the cage on this upload, and that's not the case. Never mind that transmission that's sitting there for right now. Anyhow, the state of the cage is that our 1 5/8" tube, this door bar is in, fully welded. The smaller door bar is in and fully welded, and our windshield support bar is actually tacked in. So once we get that finished welded, the only pieces I think we have left is a triangulation bar on the passenger side and the driver's side underneath the cab. And then there's an X that goes in this transmission tunnel, which, as you guys can probably guess, this is going to be a bear to go from that frame rail up and over our transmission and back to this frame rail diagonally. Yeah, it's going to take some figuring, it's going to take some effort. It's probably going to be a royal pain, to be honest. So that is where this transmission on the tailgate of the truck comes in. Big shout out to my man Alan. I met Alan last year when I bought a core torque converter off of him. So I hit him up out of the blue and said, hey, do you have an overdrive housing? And he said, I got a whole transmission, you can have it. I'm not exactly sure what this one is, if it's a 518 or like an RH transmission, not sure. All we're worried about is this, because I have a bare 48 version of that. So the plan is to take my bare 48 case, our 6.7 engine, our factory engine, and plop that all in here with the overdrive housing and the transfer case, and that way we can mock up that X, get it right, be done with it. I know I said in the last video that I wasn't sure if I was going to go through with it. Maybe we get to it at a later date. You know what, I got thinking about it. That's foolish. We're here, we're in the middle of it. Why stop and revisit this later? Let's get it done. Let's be done with this whole kind of cage thing and just proceed forward from there. So anyway, guys, that's kind of the cage update portion of the video. Not much of an update from the previous video, but that's not the focal point of this video. So the main focal point of the video is actually yet to come, or actually yet to arrive, I should say. So as you can see right now, it's all the normal Dodges in the driveway. We got somebody else coming. It should be interesting. It should be educational, and I certainly hope that it's entertaining, and I'm sure it will be, but we are fixing to learn some stuff today. It's about a subject, oh, I think I hear him coming now. It's a subject that I think we all know a little bit about, but we don't know as much as we probably should or could. Oh, it's just a Jeep. So guys, as you can see, it is much later in the evening. So what's the Jeep all about? Well, we had some people stop by that were in the area, and there he is. So this is Nick from Fluidampr up there on the wall. He was in the area and came by with some of their stuff. But to start off, I gotta be honest with you guys. So we've been talking here for a little while, and apparently I don't really know what I'm doing. So back when we were first putting the race truck together, we actually put one of their balancers on the truck, and we didn't do it right. So Nick, what did I do wrong when I put the balancer on the truck?
On your video, you used a tow strap and tied it off to the frame points.
You saw how I did that, and I think that's a good way to do it by yourself. Actually, honestly, other than like another boring tool, I'm not sure what other way you would normally go about that. What the, I guess, kind of factory way to do it, I'm not sure.
It's an inventive way, it worked, but that causes a side load, which can damage your crank and cause the damper itself to not sit flat. You want it to sit, you know, truly as flat as possible on the flange there. So that is not the manufacturer, not our recommended way. They make a barring tool that goes into the flywheel, into the flex plate there. You can get them from probably 50 different manufacturers, but that's what we recommend using. and not a toe strap.
So guys, I wanted you guys to know that, just for the simple fact that I did it wrong, not knowing any better. Like as always, you should definitely check with whoever's parts you're putting in if you're not sure. That's the way I found to do it. That was incorrect. So just be mindful of that if you're putting a balancer on your truck. So Nick, that's something kind of leads us into all you got here, and why do we need a fluid damper? Oh, that's my first question actually. Is it fluid damper or fluid amper?
Fluid damper.
So why do we need that on our truck? What's the advantage of running one of these balancers?
Your stock damper, no matter what the application, is tuned specific for the stock application. As soon as you start to change it up, the smallest thing, any power adders, it changes the harmonics of the engine, and your balancer is no longer doing its job effectively. The more you add to it, the more off and off it gets. The fluid damper, this is a cutaway of it. So it's pretty much the name of it. You have the outer housing. This is a steel inertia ring that's inside. So when we build it, you have your housing and then your steel inertia ring, and then the cover plate is laser welded on. And inside that, we have a couple holes, and we pump the silicone fluid into it. The silicone fluid is 45,000 times thicker than 30 weight motor oil. That's a 3-pound brass ball, and just to show you the thickness of it. This is a fresh sample off the line I brought down with me. You had touched its tackiness.
Yeah, I touched it earlier, but as you guys can see, it's rather tacky. It looks like kind of something out of a movie, to be honest with you.
So it's thick. So a lot of people think it's like oil, real thin. We'll get questions like, will it freeze? They think the misconception that the whole thing is full of silicone, and it's not.
That's certainly what I thought.
I mean, it's just, there's unless you knew or went onto our website, you might not know unless you talk to one of us. So also with me, I brought some of our products. Since you're a big Cummins guy and you got that new engine built by Freedom, so we wanted to just show you basically what you got on it. This is our drill pin kit. It's part number 300,002. You bolt it onto your crank. The instructions are in there. It comes with the drill and the reamer and the solid slugs, and that'll pin it, secure it. 12 valves and 24 valves, the early 5.9s, do not have an alignment pin. The common rails and the 6.7s do come with an alignment pin. So you'll see on the damper that there's two different size holes. The smaller one is actually for your alignment pin, and the larger one is for the full power kit pin, or for the drill pin kit. Also, I brought the full power kit. You have this on your truck, on your new engine. Inside there's a diamond washer that goes on the back side of the crank, and then you have the plate that goes on the front side with the bolt, the ARP bolts. Those are extra length to compensate for the thickness of the flange. The back side of the torque plate is a machine finish that has it's a rough finish, so it'll help bite into the front of the damper, along with the diamond washer on the back side, the friction washer. So that helps lock everything together. You're making anything over 750 for horsepower, we recommend having that.
So 750 for both of these.
The drill pin kit is mainly anything over 3,500 RPM.
Okay, so high RPM and then horsepower with the full power kit. Now, so what you're saying is when I had your balancer on the stock engine over here, I probably should have had the full power kit on it, being we were pushing 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, we would have definitely recommended it at that point, anything over that. One of the added benefits is there's a barring tool nub on it. It's a 5/8 socket. So that helps you turn the engine over, hold it in place, gives you some different options. So it's a nice extra piece.
Yeah, rather than going right to the bolt, and if you had to go back and loosening something up.
Right, and it's nice. I mean, a lot of guys say, well, I only want 500 horse. And but how long does that last? Because I mean, we're guys, So when you're buying a damper or any application there, it's better to just do the upgrade sooner than later. I tell a lot of people, one and done. Have that peace of mind, that safety, the insurance that it's on there. If you're going to be pulling, dragging, any kind of racing, anything over just the party mode tune, every Friday night, we recommend rechecking the bolts, retorquing them after the race. Make it part of your routine as your check over. So that's it's just a good practice, and saves your investment, because if you're pushing 750 horse, you got money into it, so you want to keep that money there so you could save it for more upgrades.
Interesting. Yeah, so we were running the right products, but we weren't exactly doing everything how we should have. The reason I had originally put a balancer on our on the truck with the stock engine was we're pushing more RPMs than factory. Factory's what, 3,500 RPM. When we were spending that thing up to 5,000 RPM, and the 6.7s are known to blow rods out of the block. So anything we could do to try and help that thing live and stay together was what we were trying to do. That's why we did our head studs, our valve springs, our push rods. That's why we did the balancer. And well, it all seemed to work. When we compression tested the engine, everything was fine. And the only real issue we had was a freeze plug in the head, and that has nothing to do with any of the rotating assembly. So apparently this kind of stuff works.
It definitely does work, and the full power kit especially, and the thicker flange, that was developed with top industry guys. The fire pump team, we were down there for their testing, and it came up with the full power kit. It was actually released 2017 UCC. They had it there. It was worked in conjunction with that. The damper I actually brought with me today is the Common Rail 5.9 damper. It's essentially pretty much just like the 6.7, same construction. One of the updates, this has been done for since 2017, mid 2017, but we still get some questions on it. There's actually a relief here. There were some issues where people were unable to get the belt on and off. So customers spoke, we listened, and we took care of that. So any damper purchased after mid 2017, that is taken care of, so you don't have to worry about it. But I know there's some articles and forums that had mentioned that, so we just wanted to actually mention that it is fixed. You won't have that issue, and it's the same thing on the 6.7, has the relief. Won't be any issues. I've had a couple phone calls that they run the thicker Gates belt, the green belt. I run that on my truck, and it goes on and off, no problem.
So if you guys don't think like a balancer is important, my father with his big truck has an aftermarket balancer, which is Vibratech, which is part of the same company as the Fluidampr guys, and had a noticeable difference. Those things are only good for like 500,000 miles. And he had a noticeable difference when he put it on there, and actually talking with people in the industry. Apparently when those go bad, you can actually snap a crankshaft, which, as you guys can imagine, is a completely bad day. Nick, is that something we have to worry about with these trucks, as far as a bad balancer eventually snapping a crankshaft?
No, you won't have that issue on our Vibratech line. That's our parent company. Those trucks see a lot more miles than your average consumer, but at 15,000 hours or 500,000 miles, we recommend replacing it. The silicone will, at that point, it'll start to revert back to its original state, which is a solid. But we've had guys that push it and go over just basically out of not knowing. The snap crank is not as common, so you don't have to get scared about that, but I mean, it is a possibility. On the Fluidampr line, it's the same silicone, same construction, but you're not going to put that many miles on it. The dampers are built to last the life of the engine. We have a 1-year manufacturer warranty. We have less than a 0.1 return rate.
Now, I mean, you guys don't just do this for the diesels, like the big trucks and the other stuff. I mean, do you make a balancer for my, if I get a car with an LS or, whatever. I mean, it's not just diesel trucks, right?
Oh, no. Yeah, we have actually brought our catalog here. We make domestic, import, European, all the, majors, small blocks. We're working on some newer late models. But our website, fluidampr.com, has all of them. It is the most up-to-date. We try to stay real consistent with that, getting it the most up-to-date information and news. So there's, small block, big block, all your big major 3. Pretty extensive import line. Especially your major ones that most people are building, the popular ones. We do get some questions on certain models. If we don't make it, sometimes they fit, and we do have some customers that modify our damper to fit a couple other applications. We do have a few that are exclusive with other companies that we manufacture just for them. But for the most part, everything is right on our website. But if you ever have a question, concern, you're free to call or email us. We try to return emails, as soon as possible, and get you the most correct information. There's really a lot of real good information on the website. We have some of the horsepower and torque differences that when we were doing some testing. But the website itself has tons of reading, some studies and whatnot. Even our Vibertech line, that website also, that we have, anything that we test or put out, we get it up on the website to share with our customers, and let them know to make sure that they're informed with what's going on and how everything's working. And
I mean, it kind of says something that you guys aren't just completely happy with your product. Like you said, you're talking to the 5.9 guys. They couldn't get their belts on there. All right, you know what? This is something that we're going to update. Even though these are older trucks, guys are going to start putting these things on here, and we need to make it so it's as maintenance friendly as possible, and just make it work how everybody expects.
Well, the 5.9 is a great engine. It's spanned multiple years. We make them all the way from the first gen Dodge, 89, all the way up to current. The 5.9, the 6.7 is a factory viscous damper, but it is made by the lowest bidder overseas. So it doesn't, they tried to copy our design, but it's not ours. The 5.9 is a rubber elastomer one.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. They can actually separate,
yes,
right?
Yeah. So I have never heard one bad thing about somebody switching to Vibertech. We get praise all the time on how smooth the engine's running, how much, what a difference it's made. A lot of people don't think about it or realize it. I mean, those dampers, they really don't last long, and it's out of sight, out of mind type thing. We're on a lot of the top race teams, and we're kind of that hidden part down low, but we're an important piece. And especially the rubber ones, if it's stock, or even if it's if it's stock or built up, the fluid damper makes a huge difference. You'll feel it in the cab if you have a stick shift. You'll feel it right in the shifter if you're holding on, especially in the big trucks. We hear that all the time. Driver fatigue is a big deal, and this actually does help with all that, because you'll feel it throughout the drivetrain. So it's more than one thing. So it's helps a lot of different parts and points.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly something that we don't think about. Everybody's talking about injectors, turbos, transmissions, of course, but this is one of the pieces of the puzzle that you don't think about. It's down behind the bumper. You can't see it. It's not flashy. It's just there to do its job. And like I said, I fully think that having one of these on our race truck with the stock engine. I really think it did help. I mean, that's why I put it on there. If I didn't think there was any benefit, I wouldn't have bought one and put it on there in the first place and gone through the trouble, being that we didn't even pull that thing apart at all. So that's kind of my take on it. If you guys have any questions, make sure you get a hold of these guys. Pretty much Nick's going to be the guy answering the phone, so you can talk to him about it and just find out any information you want to know about what their products are, their offerings, or even just how it works a little more in depth, or whatever questions you have, give Nick a shout.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you heard somebody complain about torsional vibration? You know, and that's our specialty. And for those who don't know, torsional vibration is the twisting of the crank. So every time there's an explosion, every time your cylinder fires, the rebound of the crank, it causes torsional vibration. And the way our product works with the inertia ring in there is your engine's running, the free-floating inertia ring is spinning inside, and as it's shearing through the silicone, it's taking the harmful vibrations out, it's converting it to heat, and it's actually dissipating off the front of the damper. Another question we get a lot to add to that is, how do I know if my damper's still working? As you said, like the large trucks, 500,000 miles, we recommend replacing them. And these ones, they'll last the life of the engine. It's pretty much you buy one. Unless you damage the outer ring or anything, you won't have an issue. But these will run hotter than your engine. So you could pick a point on the engine. If you have a laser temp gun and take a front cover temperature, and the damper should always be running hotter. And that is a sure way that it's working. And you can always touch it when the engine is off. If you can get in there, it'll definitely be hotter than the front of the engine.
Interesting. So that fluid's doing some work.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm going to talk with Nick a little more. Turns out that he has a 2012 just like Caitlin. So we're going to talk about that. Once again, just hit them up if you have any questions about the dampeners. It's kind of fascinating. It's just something you don't think about, and it probably, take that thing off there and run the engine, and it's not going to be a good day. So guys, I know something a little bit different in the garage tonight. We had Nick over from Fluidampr and certainly learned a little bit. I honestly do believe that balancer really helped keep that stock engine alive. But good people. You guys saw when he first showed up here, it was bright and sunny, and now it is dark and late. It is a school night, so I gotta get to bed. But just talking about trucks, talking about the race truck, talking about their stuff they got going on. One thing I forgot to mention, American made. Their products are 100% made in the United States, which is awesome. No China crap. So just fantastic. If you guys are building trucks, make sure you check them out, see what they have to offer. Give Nick a call. He is a whirlwind of information. If I had a question about their product or anything, he had an answer. So anyway, guys, like I said, it's a school night. It's time for me to get in here. We will resume cage work on the truck here shortly. Well, tomorrow night. But I'll check in with you guys here in a couple days, and hopefully that cage will be just about done. Maybe we'll be getting our transmission mocked up in there and engine in and all that stuff. So anyway, guys, get out in your garage, get the wrenching on your truck.